Georgia definitely has the talent to win it all. That was what one person pretty tied into the program had to say to me earlier this summer. I wanted to talk about that today as we get ready for Media Days, which starts Monday. By the time you're watching this, maybe that everyone else has started. Georgia goes Tuesday in the morning. We'll be there to give you everything you need. Make sure you've got everything locked and loaded with us. But I want to point you over to Dawg Post tonight for an article that's been written by me, actually, talking about this. And let me throw it on the screen real quick, if I can. What we're hearing, Georgia football definitely has the talent to win it all. And this is a conversation I have with someone earlier this summer, as I said. But these are type of things that you see all the time over on Dawg Post. It's one of the values of the memberships of the site. And a lot of people have been taking advantage of that lately. And there is, I don't know about growing optimism, but there's a particular amount of, hey, if they can just get this together, and there's not a lot of people who are better at that than Kirby and his staff, then they really have a chance to win it all. You're seeing that in the odds for the national championship. Texas is still favored to win it over Ohio State and Georgia, but those odds have narrowed significantly. Georgia and Texas are within, I don't know how to say this better, like 10 points, I guess, which is like nothing. Usually it's within hundreds of points. So there's an understanding in the betting world that Georgia has a very real shot at this thing. And the people in Athens feel the same way. But the question is, can they get it together for long enough with 22, 35, however many players you really need? You need more than 22. So, I mean, how many players do you really, really need? And how many of them that are younger are going to have the capability of really getting the job done when they're asked to do it? For being frank, I think that's kind of a significant question. And it's not just at Georgia. It's a lot of places. I mean, some places have bigger question marks than Georgia. Needless to say, Tennessee, I think to some degree, Alabama. I think Alabama is maybe better than people think. I think Georgia is better than people think. I think Texas is the real question mark in college football. But anyway, back to my point. Why don't you take advantage of this deal? It comes with the magazine. You're going to get 3 months of Dawg Post included in the cost of the magazine. So that's 3 months of Dawg Post and the magazine shipped out to you all right now. The link is in the bio. Take advantage of it. A lot of folks already have. When I say I'm going to run out of magazines, what I mean to say is if you're just buying the magazine, you're running out of time to get it, because we've got a bunch of annual subscribers and people, they all get this, and everyone who's subscribing to this offer is going to get this. So I don't know how many I'm going to have at Red Zone, and I don't know how many I'm just going to have in stock. You can just get the magazine and get 3 months for free, but that's your choice. I would take advantage of it today. When you start looking at Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, could Clemson come to this ball game? How about Penn State? You know, there's not a lot of teams that are out there, and we'll know quickly with like Clemson, LSU, that game starting the season off. I think Notre Dame does not have an overwhelmingly challenging schedule this season. We'll know a fair amount about them pretty quick with Miami, and then they play Texas A&M right after that, and then things get a little bit easier for the Irish as time goes on. You know, we'll just see. It's not an SEC schedule, that's for sure. Although they do play, you know, some decent teams in there. They play Arkansas, Texas A&M. Maybe I'm being too harsh on the Irish the more I think about it. But deeper into the season, they're just not going to lose those games. They're just not playing anybody. So, you know, they don't have Texas, Georgia in November. They don't have Ohio State, Michigan in November, etc. You get my point. It's not their fault that some of the teams they're playing are bad, but it is what it is. So what has to happen in Athens? Well, the folks that I talk to are saying, hey, listen, if we can just get it together on the back end, talking about not the back end, with the younger kids, because they're going to have to play. That's something that Kirby's talked about a lot over time. Is it usually takes about 2.5 years for some guys to get ready. They don't have that time. They're going to have to shrink that time. Now, is there a cost to that? What I mean by that is, you know, and like people are going to try to say I'm saying something here. I'm not. What I'm asking the question of is, because you have to get guys better quicker, do you have to rush things? I don't think you can rush things. I think guys are just going to have to play well when it's their time to play well. And that's the hardest part. I talk about this, my days in college, although they were, at a significantly smaller place. It doesn't mean that the learning curve was any less or more difficult. It was what it was, and it was difficult. And again, you know, have a very good academic background, a master's degree from Georgia at the number 3 program in the country for what it is. It was hard for me as a freshman at Coker. And, we didn't run a lot of complicated stuff, but we ran stuff that was different than what I ran at Tucker. When you start talking about playing tennis, that was a learning curve for sure. And, all of these things when you're going to college, a lot of these guys, the good news is they've gotten there in January and they're used to college life. That's what spring is for. So you sort of jumpstart the 6 months, but that's not going to save you this fall. I mean, guys like Elijah Griffin and like it just, there are some players that are going to have to get the job done at the beginning of the season, and we'll just see if they do. Now, I don't know. That's the problem. Griffin, Gibson, Williams, Taylor. I don't know. My suspicion is that Barber and Gaston, these are guys that are going to probably get looks. People wouldn't stop talking about Bo Walker. That's a lot of people I just named that are freshmen. Are they Andrew Thomas? Are they DeAndre Swift? Are they Jake Fromm? I remember being up at Notre Dame in September of 17. It had gotten cold by this point in the night. And the last offensive play of the game that Georgia was trying to score, not taking a knee, they had 3 true freshmen on the field of the 11 guys. That's a lot of people that were true freshmen. Well, I would say Jake Fromm was a pretty good true freshman. You're talking about a 3-year starter, a guy that won the SEC championship, won a Sugar Bowl, won a Rose Bowl. Even he was having a hard time that night. He did not have a great night against Notre Dame, but he did what he had to do. Andrew Thomas, starting right tackle for that game because you had a left tackle already in place with Isaiah Wynn. Andrew Thomas played pretty well against Notre Dame, and then you had DeAndre Swift. Those 3 guys, and I might be missing somebody, but I remember writing something about this. Those 3 guys were on the field on the 3rd down with Georgia losing. And then they did not convert the 3rd down. Here comes Rodrigo. He knocks it in there like 3 plays later. Lorenzo and Davin Bellamy do what they do. Fumble recovery, ball game, and that was an important moment for Kirby Smart. It wasn't the pivotal moment for him, but it was an important moment for him in his tenure at Georgia. He had 3 true freshmen on the field on offense. One of them was at running back, but the other one was at tackle, and the other one was at quarterback. So that's sort of when you talk to folks, there's not nervousness. They know they're good. The question is, how good can they be? How long will it take for them to get there? And, do the people that need to play this fall that are not ready, will they be ready enough? Will they be, what does not ready mean? That's my term. What is, not completely ready, the 2-year type time span that Kirby's talking about? What's that going to be like for these guys? Third eye blindside, how's it going to be? We don't know yet. I think that Georgia plays Tennessee early is such a great opportunity for Georgia because it'd be even better if they were playing a big game to start the season. They're not, but that you get to play Tennessee early away. It's a little bit like Kentucky last year. I think Georgia is fortunate to be in that opportunity, to be a brand name, and to have the capability of playing on the road in the league against a team they should beat. Not certainly, but they should beat. Team coming in with a new quarterback, some challenges. New, they had the best running back in the SEC last year. He really hurt Georgia at times. So all those things are gone for Tennessee. And Georgia's got to go up there and deal with the noise and all these things. It's difficult playing at Neyland, for sure. It's not Death Valley, but it's pretty rough. In the grand scheme of things, it's pretty rough. Like, you're pretty sure you're going to leave Neyland with all your fingers and alive. LSU's not like that necessarily. So They're not going down there, but this Georgia team, what I'd say is, I've got the article. It's linked down below. You need a premium subscription to read it. That's where you can take advantage of the 3 months for the price of the magazine. I would take advantage of that today. This Georgia team has got what it needs to win it all, and they know it. As I wrote in the magazine, they're not as good as they were in 21 and 22 and probably 23. The good news is college football is just not at that level right now. And there's sort of been a refreshing of things. Everyone's settling into some stuff these days. It's gotten better over the last 6 months with the settlements and so forth. But Georgia's in as good a position as anyone not named Texas and Ohio State, and they are in as good a position as those two to win it. What do you think? Take advantage of this opportunity while you can with Dawg Post down below. Thanks for watching.